Get back to that developing story here in breaking news in San Francisco. A moment ago, a San Francisco jury announced it found Nima Momeni guilty of second-degree murder for the killing of Cash App founder Bob Lee. That second-degree murder conviction would carry a sentence of 15 years to life in prison. A live look now outside that courtroom in San Francisco. People filing out. We don't see a lot of emotion in these people. I'm assuming a large number of them are reporters. We will wait to hear from our Henry Lee, who was inside the courtroom as the verdict was read. It will be interesting to hear from Henry whether or not Nima Momeni had any visible reaction to the news that he has been found guilty of second-degree murder. This news comes after 7 days of deliberations for the jurors, 6 men, 6 women. Momeni was accused of stabbing and killing Cash App founder Bob Lee in San Francisco in April of last year. The two were acquaintances. Momeni was arrested several days later, was charged with murder with a special allegation that he used a knife as a weapon. The very worst he could have faced would be a first-degree murder conviction with the knife enhancement. That would have meant 26 years to life. That was not the case. Again, the breaking news, Nima Momeni has been found guilty of second-degree murder for the killing of Bob Lee. We see groups assembling outside the courtroom here. We do expect to hear from perhaps defense attorneys, maybe the prosecution. We've been hearing from Bob Lee's supporters. We heard from his ex-wife in just the minutes before today's court session started. It's important to note here, James, and I think you said this not long ago, the judge is the one who decides how long the sentence will be, and that range of 15 years to life is vast. We should keep in mind that Momeni is 43 years old, so if the judge goes for the very lowest sentence, 15 years, he could be out at the age of 58.
Yeah, and I imagine that's information we'll get from Henry Lee, who will be live for us in just a moment to give us some of the more specific details of what we saw inside the courthouse. But typically in California, and here of course in the Hall of Justice in San Francisco, the jury will make that guilty verdict. They'll tell them how they, and by the way, it took a lot for them to get here too, because the judge was instructing them, if you don't find him guilty on that first-degree murder charge, consider all these lesser charges too. If it weren't second-degree murder, was it voluntary manslaughter? Was it involuntary manslaughter? That's exactly what the jury did, and that lines up exactly with what a lot of our experts suggested was happening. Spent 7 full days of deliberations, hoping that they could get to this, they have to do this unanimously, get to an agreement. They decided that that first-degree murder charge did not fit the conviction. It was, in fact, that second-degree murder charge that they felt was most appropriate for this case.
Yeah, just going back to a little bit of what happened in this case here, Momeni did take the stand. He has 5 defense attorneys, by the way, high-profile defense attorneys. He did take the stand and said that Lee attacked him after Momeni joked that Lee should be with his family instead of going to a strip club. These are some of the moments that Momeni described on stand here, just going back. He was combative with the prosecutor in that case, and we heard from Joseph Tully from Tully and Weiss just a moment ago, usually going in front of a court when you take the stand and becoming agitated is not really a good sign in his experience as someone who takes on cases similar to this one. This case, we saw a lot of testimony from Momeni's sister because it revolved a lot around her and what Momeni said Lee did, or Lee's drug dealer did to his sister. We did not see her. I didn't catch a glimpse of her today, but we had seen her coming in and out of court when she was actually called to testify on the stand for several days earlier in the trial, but I did not see her going in, but I could be wrong. We are waiting for Henry Lee to come out to talk a little bit about what's going on in there. But going back to what we talked about a little bit, the defense also had a retired San Francisco inspector on the stand who told the jury that it was reasonable to believe that Lee was the initial agitator, saying that actually I just got word that we have Henry Lee now, that we can talk to him about exactly what happened in the court. Henry, if you can hear me, can you tell us a little bit about what happened inside the court when the verdict was read?
Yeah, well, within minutes ago, the jury found Nima Momeni guilty of second-degree murder, as well as an allegation that he used a knife. So what this means is that he could face 16 years to life in prison in the deadly stabbing of Bob Lee. Now, that second-degree murder means that they did not find that he acted with premeditation or deliberation. That would have carried 25 or 26 years of life if they found him guilty of first-degree murder. So again, the headline is second-degree murder after this jury of 6 men and 6 women found him not guilty of first-degree murder. They went to the next rung, so to speak, guilty of second-degree murder. At first, when they said not guilty of first-degree murder, his attorney who's in town, Tony Brass, kind of put his hand on him as if to revel in that decision, but then it came back guilty of second-degree murder. The same attorney put his hand on him again. No visible reaction from him, and because his back was to us. But again, the family of Bob Lee was there. I couldn't see their reaction at this point, but there were some hands also put in their direction. But again, a full packed courtroom, and the sentencing of Nima Momeni will be at a later date.
And we know that sentencing is going to come from the judge themselves. There are some court cases where the jury can actually determine the sentencing, but that will be coming from the judge. Have they actually set that date just yet, Henry?
Not yet. Didn't hear a date unless it was really chaotic afterwards. We were trying to get out to tell you guys the verdict. We expect to do hear from DA Brooke Jenkins, who was in the gallery. We hope to hear from family members of Bob Lee, as well as any other interested parties. Now, to note, I did see 3 alternate jurors who came back for the sentencing. They did not participate in the deliberations, but because they've put so much of their life into the 6-week trial, testimony, witnesses, they came back on their own time to be there when this verdict was read.
And Henry, is there any indication that any of the jurors will speak with reporters after this case? Again, it made national headlines.
They were told by the judge that they are welcome to do so, and it's up to them to decide whether or not they want to talk to us. We have Christian Captain and my colleagues all upstairs right outside Department 28 waiting as we speak to see if anyone wants to talk to us, including jurors.
All right, we see that someone's getting ready to speak. I can't tell who this is, but let's listen in and see if we can learn more about what happened in the courtroom just a short time ago. All right, while we work that out, we do have Michael Cardoza, our legal analyst, to talk a little bit about this verdict. Michael, if you could...
We'll put him away for a long time. It's just, this case was extremely hard to prove because it was just Nima's word versus my brother's word, which he's not here to be able for anybody to be able to hear those words, right? And they were able to get it knocked down to murder 2 or whatever, but it is what it is. We're extremely thankful to the district attorney's office. We're extremely thankful for the juries. We think justice was done here today.
Why do you think the jury decided what it did ultimately? What was the...
So the jury only sees a small slice of what was presented within the courtroom. They weren't privy to all the information that we were, that the press was, the rest of the world was in this case, meaning that they didn't understand the context that was around that, and that's just the nature of what happens within a criminal trial, right? But we know what happened here. Right, we think he had the intent to murder. The jury felt like he did not have the intent of coming into that situation. But what matters today is that we had a guilty verdict, and that Nima Momeni is going away for a very long time. And that us, the family, Bob's kids will not have to see him on the street. Right? It's been a very, very crazy ordeal. It's been so hard to be able to live through all of this. And we're pleased that we're able to move past this part of this chapter in our life. There's still more of the book to go on, but we're pleased with the verdict today.
Do you have any thoughts on sentencing? Any thoughts?
The sentencing, as I've said through this, actually, I do not know what the maximum is for murder 2, but obviously we think that's true. The intent, what we wanted the outcome for this trial to be, doesn't matter whether it's murder 1 or murder 2, it was that Nima Momeni is not, that Bob's kids do not have to see him on the streets again, right? And we think that that's a possibility here.
What would murder 1 have done for you that murder 2 doesn't?
It's a great question. I don't know.
Longer sentence.
Longer sentencing, yeah. Everybody, this is Dad, by the way, and Krista, all of us standing here together.
What has the last week been like waiting for this jury? Everybody's made a big point of how long it's taken. It must have been difficult to wait this long.
Yeah, this has been one of the most difficult weeks of our lives that was preceded by the next most difficult week of our lives, which was preceded by the next most difficult weeks of our lives, and all the way back for the last 18 months. This has been an extremely hard process to be able to try and get through and to just live through, right? We're happy this part's over, right? And we're happy it's a guilty verdict, and we're very thankful to the jury and the district attorney and the police of San Francisco.
Where did your family go from here? What's next for you?
So our family tries to start healing from here. And so what's happened over the last 18 months is this has been an open wound with our family, right? And it's been so difficult because just the scrutiny and and just all of the context that has been around this has been extremely hard for us. This marks a point where we know that Nima Momeni now is being held accountable for his actions, and so now we can start healing and trying to come together more as a family to try and not move on from this, because I don't believe that's possible, but at least try and get our lives to a place where it's not something new and horrible every day.
Was there anything that you could say to them? Were you at any point fearful that he would not be found guilty?
Of course, yeah. It's the nature of a jury trial, right? And that the longer it went on, the more we were pensive about what was going to happen in the room today. And we're glad they came to the right conclusion, and I'm glad they took the time to be able to come to that conclusion. Because if they would have rushed and done something else, that would have sucked.
Did he just say anything to...
Let me get here and I'll come right back to you, okay?
If there's anything to say to Nima's family or to him directly, what would you like to say?
You would feel that. The blood is on their hands.
Yeah,
the mother, the sister, and the brother-in-law. Our fight is not over yet.
So it was clear for us within the courtroom of what happened, right? Not only did Nima perpetrate this crime, but also the people in his immediate circle were helpful in trying to cover that fact up. And that helped them to get the charges down to murder 2 today, right? And so we believe that all of them should feel as guilty as Nima does today, right? They are, it's hard to fathom where people reach down to, the depths of what they are, to be able to come to the conclusions and come to the actions that Nima and the people in his halo were in, that they did that night, right? And so, honestly, I don't have anything to say to him directly, because I don't think that's worth it, right? And he's... As much as a bad process as this has been, they made it better.
Can you take us to the moment you heard the words guilty?
My heart just, like, I don't know, I had just all of the emotions at once, I guess I would say. The way procedurally, where they said not guilty on murder 1, and then they said guilty on murder 2, that may have been, I thought I was having a heart attack, I gotta say.
Do you think justice will serve?
As much as it can be, right? I know for a fact I'm never going to have my brother back, but this is the best of all worst outcomes, right? And so this is where we are today, and all we can do is move forward.
Legal action, civil suit, anything like that?
We currently are talking to other attorneys to make that a reality, or see if that's a possibility at this time. I'm not a lawyer, but we'll take the advice of other lawyers to make that happen. Yes. Okay. All right, one more question, and then we're gonna, or not? Okay. I'm gonna go be with the family. Thank you. It's my first name is actually Timothy, but I go by Oliver, Oliverlee, and Krista, all.
Thank you for.
All right.
Listening in as we hear the brother of Bob Lee speak just moments after the jury verdict was announced that the killer of his brother has been found guilty of second-degree murder. Hearing from Timothy there, who goes by Oliver, speaking about his brother, saying that this is the best of all worst outcomes, saying he just about felt like he was having a heart attack when he first learned that the first-degree murder charge was rejected and then found guilty on second-degree murder. Next to the brother of the victim here, we saw his father actually standing right behind him, and then Bob Lee's ex-wife as well.
Yeah, who is one of many people that have been very vocal, outspoken, critical about the defense in this whole process. As you might imagine, emotions on this side of things can certainly, direct your comments and your attention. But we heard her before the verdict say that the defense was argument, quote, garbage. Yeah. She used the word garbage.
You know what? Here we see DA Brooke Jenkins. Let's see. She actually hasn't said much at all, I think, publicly during this trial.
But Henry Lee did say that she's expected to speak about what is happening. She was in the gallery as this case was underway. Let's listen in right now.
Good morning, everyone. I know you just heard from the family. I have to say that we share the relief in this verdict. We truly want to collectively thank the jury for their service. We know that this was a very long commitment of their time, that there was a lot coming at them as far as evidence, and the fact that they took the time that they needed to deliberate and reach this verdict means a great deal, not only to us, but as we know, most especially to this family. I have to right now sing the praises of the two attorneys that handled this case from my office, Omid Talai and Dane Reinstedt. I know these two from having worked with them in our homicide unit prior to becoming the district attorney, and I knew and was confident that we had two of our best handling this case. And I think the verdict is a testament to the hard work that they put in, to the great lawyers that they are, and to their commitment to justice and to this making sure that this family received justice. I also want to thank the San Francisco Police Department, Sergeant Brent Dittmer, who was assigned to this case, to our staff who helped to further the investigation, to our victim advocates who stood by this family during a very tumultuous year as they waited to get to this point. But it took a team effort for us to get here. This isn't just our office. It isn't just the police. It's all of us collectively working together to bring justice to families each and every day. The other thing that I want to say is I think that hopefully now we have once again established what truly happened here. We all know that after Bob Lee was murdered, Elon Musk took to Twitter to make an effort to really shame San Francisco and to make it seem like this was about lawlessness in San Francisco and about what's going on out in our streets. And we knew it was something different. And I think today proved once again that we are a city committed to accountability, we are a city committed to public safety, and that when something bad happens, which we can't always control, that law enforcement at every level will respond to make sure that there is justice and accountability in each and every situation. And so, again, we just want to thank this family that put their trust in us, the communities across San Francisco that put their trust in law enforcement, both the police and my office, to make sure that we had accountability in this case. And so that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, District Attorney Brooke Jenkins there talking about the case, who was in the courtroom in the gallery. She recognized the two attorneys who helped prosecute this case and shared her relief about the jury's conviction on second-degree murder against Nima Momeni in the murder of Bob Lee, the Cash App founder who was killed in San Francisco in April of last year. And she also made a point to say that this highlights that San Francisco is not a lawless area, which was apparently highlighted after Lee's killing last year, and she wanted to use the case and the result of this case to refute what Musk said last year when this pretty stunning incident this happened. Let's listen in some more comments coming in from those who were in the courtroom.
Contributed to this case, making me and Dane's job fairly easy. We're grateful. We're happy with the verdict.
Are you Mr. Momeni's attorneys are already saying that they're planning an appeal. Are you prepared to fight off any potential appeal down the road?
Appeals are standard anytime we get a conviction in any case. And so this is just customary practice. Any defense lawyer worth their salt is going to file an appeal of any conviction. And so we